I was gonna get into the racist tapes. I don't know how much longer I can go for, but I was gonna get into the racist Eminem tapes because as I started from the beginning of this, I said, you know, it's quite deep that this happened because Eminem was exposed for doing something racist, and this is how the world and white people responded to their hero being exposed for being racist, was not to hold him accountable and was to actually shame and ruin the life of the person, of the black person who highlighted the racism. That's quite crazy. So I've just got a video here called Eminem's Darkest Hour, the racist tapes. I just wanted to find a video with the tapes on it, but I guess this is going to explain some of it. I might not play it all, we'll just see what it's saying.
Eminem's like, they call it the racist rap hour tapes.
The racist rap hour, you know, that Eminem and his group at the time, you know, his 3 other white guys had made this whole tape with a lot of racist stuff on it.
There was actually more records.
Yeah, where he's saying and all that shit.
Yeah, like calling black people mother.
Oh, this is like a whole little documentary. It's 15 minutes, 16 minutes long. Maybe we'll end up watching it all, we'll see in it, but it seems like it's edited into an actual story here. I didn't notice what we were going to be watching.
Monkeys and stuff like that.
It was when Benzino decided to say, hey, Eminem is a racist.
We need to listen to this track.
We can hear the music now.
I'll get straight to the point. Black girls are bitches. That's why I'ma tell you, you better pull up your britches. Cause all that cash is making your ass drag from the boyfriend you ganked. Black girls and white girls just don't mix because black girls are dumb and white girls are good shit. White girls are good. I like white girls.
Black women are bad, white women are good.
Bruh. So long story short.
Bruh, indeed, yeah. I mean, I've heard that before. I haven't listened to it in a while, but yeah, I mean, we know the story behind it. I guess they'll get into it. But, bro, that's wild, bro. Yeah, this is how you come up feeling.
Sure, in the early 2000s, Eminem had been beefing this guy named Benzino. And Benzino happened to be the co-owner of The Source, basically the biggest publication in hip-hop at the time. And nearing the end of this beef, in late 2003, Benzino got his hands on some tapes of Eminem spitting some allegedly racist bars, and they called it Eminem's Racist Rap Hour tapes. So they decided to try and cancel Eminem before people were even talking about cancel culture. They released a CD of them and put them out with an issue of their magazine. Even just for that reason alone, I think this is a video worth making and a time in hip-hop history worth revisiting. Now, before we get
this is interesting. So, I've just paused it on this guy's name, I guess. Jono Ramsey. It's obviously an English guy who's looking into this. So this will be interesting to see. Is he a Eminem stan who's going to frame this against Benzino? Is he going to frame it against Eminem? Is it going to be impartial? We'll see. I just wanted the information, and this was, from the titles, looked like it looked like it would be the clearest information.
Get further into this video, I just want to make it very clear that I'm not suggesting Eminem's a racist. I don't think that Eminem's a racist. Actions speak louder than words, blah blah blah. But in the same vein, when you hear these tracks, they're pretty bad. They're pretty bad. Anyway, in this video, I'm going to break down the whole story of Eminem's racist rap hour tapes for you. That's how they came about. Are they even Eminem? And if so, did he get off light? So let's not waste any more time and let's crack right on with the video after you've subscribed. Hit that subscribe button now. You've done it.
I haven't subscribed, but I'll decide if I'm going to subscribe
my trust.
At the end, depending on
let's crack on.
his angle.
So this Benzino fella, before becoming the silent co-owner of The Source magazine, had a so-so rap career. Nothing particularly special, but he made a couple of tracks that charted in the top 50. Anyway, in 2003, after a couple of years away from music, Benzino dropped a diss track out of nowhere aimed at Eminem, called Pull Up Your Skirt, calling him the 2003 Vanilla Ice.
I don't think we could say it was out of nowhere. I'm not 100% sure on this part of the story. I'll look more deep into it, but didn't Eminem, like, from his first album, come out dissing The Source? Because we sat in something only getting 2 in The Source, and there was a whole lot of lyrics dissing The Source, right? And then talks about XXL, that he'll push them to attack the source kind of thing. So maybe I've always felt Benzino came back at Eminem because of all the source disses.
He went on to drop a couple more and a full mixtape of Eminem disses, to which Eminem replied with 2 diss tracks of his own. You might remember this stanza in Like Toy Soldiers, where Eminem addresses the issue. No, I'm not going to rap it. You can just read it right here in front of you. You've probably heard it a few times when you were 12 and you thought this was the best rap track ever. You thought it was extremely emotional and it really touched you. It might still touch you now. Anyway, you've read it. Let's move on. According to recent Vlad TV interviews with David Mays, the other source co-owner, Benzino essentially went after Eminem with the diss track because he thought M was overhyped because he was white, and that his immense fame could potentially be damaging for hip-hop culture in the long term and prevent more talented black artists breaking through.
But by 2002, I think, is when 8 Mile is coming out. And this is when the media goes into kind of overdrive, the mainstream media, and it's like, you know, Eminem is the king of hip-hop, you know, he's the greatest to ever do it. You know, they're just, you know, going crazy with, you know, the way they're portraying him. And I think that, you know, rubbed Benzino the wrong way, and I think it had him thinking like, you know, this could be bad for hip-hop, you know, that just like Elvis was used to change the trajectory of rock and roll music and cut out black folks.
Shout out to Vlad TV, by the way, and specifically Sean Prez.
I want to respond to what my man's saying though, but yeah, I mean, I think I would have disagreed with that back then, but I think now, looking at the things I've been looking at, and if we're looking at Tom McDonald and how extreme it's gone as far as a rapper being openly racist and literally catering to a racist fan base at least, I don't, he's not going to achieve it. He's not going to achieve taking over hip hop, but Eminem fans and the racism involved in that is a very, very real conversation.
Because he's been asking literally anyone that sits down on the couch in front of him about these tapes in the last literally 2 years, like some interviews as recent as 2022. So Sean's keeping this stuff fresh in people's minds and asking people about it right now. So a lot of this interview footage that I'm going to be using from Vlad TV is like brand new, recent. So people are still talking about this. So I'm not just bringing it up randomly. Shout out to Sean Prez. Please don't copyright strike this, Sean. Please, Vlad, please do not copyright strike this, please. It's fair use, bro. It's fair use, bro. It's fair use, bro. Please go watch their full interviews after this. I'll link them in the description. So in November...
Well, please forget this brother's name. You don't copyright strike my video ever. It's fair use, yeah.
2003, after all the disses had been sent back and forth, 3 dudes arrived at the Source offices trying to sell tapes allegedly featuring Eminem spitting some racist freestyles.
Eminem's like, they call it the racist rap hour tapes. I was like, oh, really? I said, man, I jumped on the next thing smoking. Met with the guys. It was like Maddox.
Maddox, what's up, man? I know you want to smile.
I don't know the other guy's name. I just was like, man, where's the tapes? How much y'all want for it? I didn't even want to have no comments. Dave wanted to hang out with. How much you want for the tapes and where they at? So they had been trying to sell them already to Irv Gotti, and they wanted 50 bands for them. They had tapes, trying to sell the tapes for over a year. They were just trying to get 50,000. I said, I'll give you 15.
So apparently these 3 dudes who used to be friends with Eminem back in the day had been trying to sell these tapes for over a year for $50,000. So they finally ended up at the doors of the Source after all the Benzino diss track stuff happened. Benzino wouldn't give them 50k, but he did give them 15k. After the Source had got their hands on these tapes, they then held a press conference, inviting as many journalists down as possible in the hopes of encouraging some sort of national outcry and getting Eminem an old-fashioned cancelling. I know I've already played a part of this press conference and when he plays the tune, but we need to run it back because it's just so hilariously awkward.
It's the same way that you guys have treated Mike Tyson. You guys are treating Kobe Bryant. You guys have treated R. Kelly, O.J. Simpson. We can hear the music now.
I'll get straight to the point. Black girls are bitches.
Okay. I've been Team Benzino in a lot of this, but I pulled him up on the Diddy bit. And now here he's doing, like, he's got a weird connection with sexual assault crimes committed by black people and accusations against black men, and tying it up into all of this. That's weird, bro. Yeah, that is awkward. That is very awkward. And especially mentioning R. Kelly when that's obviously before R. Kelly. That was when R. Kelly was accused back then, when we did know he was guilty because there was videos. But you know, it's shameful that how many years it took to actually find him guilty.
I'll get straight to the point. Black girls are bitches. That's why I'ma tell you, you better pull up your bridges. Cause all that cash is making your ass drag from the boyfriend you ganked. And that's pretty bad.
Although the scandalous nature of Eminem's lyrics have given Benzino and The Source a newfound support for their claims, perhaps the biggest revelation of the press conference was how bad Eminem was just 10 years ago, and how much he's improved since.
Oh, how bad he was at rapping generally.
Apparently there's 2 tracks on this tape, and the one that you heard at that press conference came to be known as Foolish Pride. It's about 5 minutes long, just short of 5 minutes long in full, and the entire theme of it is being disrespectful towards black women. And the other one came to be known as So Many Styles. It's only 36 seconds long and features someone that calls himself Eminem saying the N-word.
There's so many styles I might get thrown, and here's a place where I like to roam. And all the girls that I like to bone have the big butts. No, they don't, cause I don't like that shit. I just here to make a bigger hit. When I be kicking, the hype is dopest rhymes to say that Eminem is the best to see it of all times.
So at the end of this press conference,
I don't think I even ever heard that one before. I don't think I ever heard that. That's wild, yo. I mean, the whole thing is wild, but that is definitely very, very, very wild. And I want to get to the point to see whether this guy thinks he got off lightly or not, but he definitely did.
Benzino let everyone know that he was planning to release these tapes on a free CD with the next issue of The Source magazine. Shady Records did not want that to happen, so they took The Source to court in December 2003, literally the month after the tapes came out, to try and stop them publishing the recordings. Shady Records went after The Source in a copyright infringement.
So, I mean, I'm not saying they shouldn't do this, obviously you're going to do that, but they basically used white supremacy, used the white supremacist court system to go and try and shut this down, and white privilege. Chris Hayes says that second one don't sound like him. It sounded like him to me. Obviously it's older, and like I'm pretty sure it's been. I think he said he's going to talk about whether it is him in this. I think that's a ridiculous part, because I saw in something else already today and a number of times that there is a tape where he says the N-word. I just don't think I'd heard it. So I'm pretty sure this has already been confirmed.
Case, and the judge actually ruled in favour of The Source. The judge only let them put a small portion of the tape out, about 20 seconds, under fair use law. And I'm sure anyone that uploads stuff to YouTube will know about fair use and, you know, how vague it is. So 20 seconds in what was a landmark case where the people using the so-called copyright material actually won the right to publish some of it. And apparently the tape was a lot longer than the 2 tracks that we know now that are widely available online.
The thing is though, yeah, Chris Hayes again said the first one did. Look, there's an entire court case based on these tapes, so we know they're real from the court case. Like, that's a fact. See if I get proved wrong when he gets to talking about that part. But yeah, it's mad, because I see Benzino in another interview saying, you know, if that's allowed to happen now, he would have just put it online. It would be. He was trying to put it because he was trying to publicly release it. He had to go through this whole thing and basically got blocked from releasing it in full. And he also said recently that he doesn't even have the original copy anymore. Spent 15 grand for it, but he doesn't even have a copy of it. Like, nobody has a copy.
To an hour. Obviously, Eminem's racist rap hour. Despite Eminem's best efforts, The Source were true to their word, and they published a combined 20 seconds of both of the tracks that I've played you in February 2004, alongside their magazine that featured an article with interviews of people who claim to be friends with Eminem and who were there when the recordings were made in the early 90s.
Mad. I didn't even read that.
The source exposes Eminem's racist songs and the secret agenda to steal hip-hop from the streets. In an attempt to suppress several blatantly racist songs Eminem recorded back when he was 21 years old, his record company, Shady Records, sued the source this past December. In a landmark decision by federal judge Gerald E. Lynch on Monday, December 22nd, the source was given the right, in the interest of freedom of the press, to include a total of 20 seconds from the songs on this CD.
The hype is dope, is trying to say that Eminem is the best MC in all time.
So the big question, are these tapes even?
Before we get to this question, Shade Prince said, I think the reason Eminem fans were so rabid towards Benzino was because of how he exposed M. And when you deep it, that's really it, innit? It's like millions of white fans and white people all over the world getting defensive about a white person being exposed for racism. A white hero being exposed for racism. And now me, since I've been so active in speaking against racism and against white people in hip-hop being racist, I see that defensiveness every day. So I completely see it, like literally every day, they just get their back up, like, no, it's not racist, no. And then they will attack anybody involved, they will literally do anything. They'll make you the villain. Like, I'm a villain, I'm the villain to them now. For all these Tom McDonald fans, I'm the villain. Yeah. And it's just all literally intertwined into white supremacy. I know it's Eminem, but let's see what this thing's about.
And the logical answer is yes. How could you take someone to court for copyright if you don't own the thing you're taking them to court for copyright for? If you
there you
make
go.
It. So even just taking them to court for copyright is essentially admitting ownership as far as I'm concerned. Because if not, you'd just take them to court for libel or slander or something else for them claiming that these tracks were you. But according to Eminem and the Shady Records team, it's not quite as simple as that. The longer track, Foolish Pride, Eminem took ownership of straight away, putting out a statement not long after the Source press conference that read, Ray Benzino, David Mays and the Source have had a vendetta against me, Shady Records and our artists for a long time. The tape they played today was something I made out of anger, stupidity and frustration when I was a teenager. I'd just broken up with my girlfriend, who was African American, and I reacted like the angry, stupid kid I was. I hope people will take for it the foolishness that it was, and not for what somebody is trying to make it into today. However, when it comes to the second recording, the 36-second one where someone drops the N-word, Eminem was less keen to claim ownership of that one. His manager Paul Rosenberg told MTV News that neither he nor Eminem had heard or heard of that first track. So let me play this again so you can judge for yourself here.
Cause I just grabbed the microphone and I just gotta get so hyper to speak in a hypertone. And so many styles I might get thrown. And here's a place where I like to roam. And all the girls that I like to bone have the big butt. No they don't, cause I don't like that shit. I just here to make a bigger hit. When I be kicking, the hype is dope is trying to say that Eminem is the best MC in all times. Yeah.
I don't know, man. Surely if the...
I'm just wondering if Chris Hayes, who claimed it wasn't him, have you watched these videos before, or have you already seen people claiming that wasn't him before?
First track is Eminem, then the second track is going to be Eminem, because it kind of sounds the same. The guy on the track says that he's Eminem. Both of the tracks are coming from the same source, no pun intended. They're coming from these three dudes who claim to know Eminem. You know, if the first one's him, so they've legitimately got their hands on that, surely that one's him too.
It's a stupid suggestion.
Even if it was, he couldn't admit that because the amount of damage that it would do to his career and reputation is potentially unthinkable. And another thing, if it wasn't him, surely in court he could have proved that it wasn't him and prevented the Source from publishing that in their combined 20 seconds.
Big
The
facts.
Source published clips from this one too.
Big
So the
facts.
judge-
I was more thinking they were claiming that wasn't even part of the court case. This was another tape, and if that was the case, though, they would have sued. They would have sued him. They would have sued the Source. If they released a fake tape that wasn't him, they would have sued the Source. It just makes no sense. Of course, it's him.
Said yes, you can publish those clips, and Shady Records tried to stop them under copyright. So surely that suggests that Eminem owns that because he's trying to claim that it's him. They could only put 20 seconds of that in as well. So Eminem's claimed a copyright strike against this song.
Chris Hayes said, "No, I never heard them. Not since the original back." Anyways, 20 years ago. Yeah, fair enough, bro. Yeah, but what do you think about what he's saying, though? because he's completely right. Like, it makes no sense that you could make a copyright claim against a song and block it to only getting 30 seconds released or whatever. If it wasn't you, you wouldn't be able to claim anything if it wasn't you.
Song that he says he's never heard of. That doesn't make sense, does it? Let me know what you think in the comments. So did Eminem get off lightly? In this day and age, yeah. If those tracks came out during the social media era, Eminem would be cancelled before you could say the word cancelled. He would be gone. After dropping Encore in late 2000...
Let me just pull up on that. You lot know I don't believe in cancel culture. I don't believe it's a real thing. I don't believe it exists. Chris Hayes said, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't think Eminem... I don't think if Eminem did that today, he would be cancelled, if I'm being honest. No. I think a lot more people would hold him to account. I think a lot of younger people would not really be fans of him anymore, but a lot of young people are not really fans of him anyway. So I still think he would cater to the Tom McDonald fan base and the millions of people who love him. I don't think it would end much different. Because actually, cancel culture don't exist, and actually racism from white people is very much protected.
2004, Eminem did disappear for a good 5 years before he came back with Relapse. A fact that Vlad TV's Sean Prez thinks might be linked to these tapes coming out and the fallout from them. But I'm not really too sure about that. It feels like a bit of a tenuous link. Obviously, I wasn't old enough and wasn't living in the US at the time or whatever. So if you were at that time, did people give a shit about these tapes? Did people react? Was there much of a fallout? Were newspapers going after M? Let me know in the comments, because it's hard to kind of judge now when you're just doing the research on the internet how much impact these tapes actually had on his career, if any. Because if you look back now, a lot of people might not even know about them, so it seems like they had virtually no impact. He just said soz and got on with being the biggest rapper, best-selling rapper of all time.
Yeah, virtually no impact.
Soz.
Someone in the comments said, Amen, I'm Hotep. Alright, well, no wonder you're writing a comment like this. Said, how does cancel culture not exist? Look at Noel Clarke, he's been cancelled. Noel Clarke has been held accountable for his actions. And Noel Clarke also has admitted to some of his actions. He should be respected a bit more for that. Noel Clarke also didn't really attempt to continue working. It affected his mental health. And I think... and then he kind of backed off. So you could say that. You could say it damaged him to a point that he didn't continue to work. But no, it's like I said this earlier, and I've said it in more detail, that cancel culture, as they call it, is just capitalism. And people who are screaming about cancel culture are usually supposed to be right-wing people who are pro-capitalism. It's just losing a job because the consumer doesn't want to buy your product anymore. And that's how the world works. That's capitalism, and it's it's our society. I think the Noel Clarke situation, there's some racism involved for sure, in the fact that he may have been handled differently to how white counterparts of his in the industry may have been treated, but it doesn't mean he didn't do anything. And I didn't like the way when he was able to come back and make a comeback interview tour recently and get loads of support, which I didn't think was right. I don't like the way they supported him blindly. There was just complete blind support for him. The other day, Octavian had this whole thing. Apparently, Octavian's cancelled, but he literally just, there was a rumor that he was not guilty, and everyone just runs with that. Everyone just shares that, oh, he's not guilty, but it's not even true. There is no not guilty for him. Chris Hayes said, I can't remember what Noel Clarke did now. He just got a bunch of accusations from women he was working with, and to be fair, he was quite set up by the newspaper in that they gathered. I don't like when newspapers get involved to the point where their agenda is just selling papers, right? I recently got contacted by the Sun. I haven't bothered to talk about it, but I did end up talking to them, but nothing's come out. And if it does, it might be attacking me, you know what I'm saying? Who knows? And I'm quite fully aware of that, but it might be attacking Katie Hopkins, who knows? But yeah, I don't really respect it when papers put these things together just to sell papers, because it's not from an honest place. It's not trying to help those women. yeah. But it doesn't mean I'm going to ignore what those women have said, and that it's actually a real thing, and the consequences that come with that. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Kwedamawi Essene, I've said your name before. I asked if I said it right already, but I think he's terrible as a rapper. I really don't know why he gets so much praise. He's corny as hell. Eminem, I gather you're talking about. I mean, I used to think Eminem was amazing, and recently I've been enjoying annoying Eminem stans because it's fun in the comments. They're so passionate. I see all of these posts recently about how Eminem destroyed Kanye, Drake, and Lil Wayne on Forever or whatever, and made them all change their verse, and I just felt like winding them up. So I was like, Eminem's got the worst verse on that song. And then I sat here and thought about it, and I thought, everyone used to, and probably myself, I said, oh yeah, he had the best verse. Kanye said he rewrote his verse, everything. And I thought, I can't think of one line from that song, so I went and listened to it. The verse is trash, like it's literally trash. It's terrible, like it's definitely the worst verse on the song. Like I could remember Drake bars, yeah? I know I've said I like Drake and a lot of people don't, but like Drake's bar opens like, last name ever, first name greatest. Like that's a dope opening line. Labels want me beside the X like Malcolm, like certain punchlines and that. His verse is dope. Do you know what I'm saying? But with Eminem's verse, what it is that Eminem his style has a way of making it sound like he's better than he is the first time you listen to it, just because it's like intense and it's got this delivery to it that's like hard hitting, and because you expect it to be amazing, you kind of automatically think that it is. But when you look back on it and you listen, you're like, what did he say? Where's the line? And I've been, since I thought of this in them comments, them forums, every time I've been asking, man, like, name me one line from that song. Name me one dope line. And they can go and get the lyrics and find one if they want. But they can't. Not one person is able to name me a dope line from that verse. Someone's Eminem in Hotep said Drake's verse was hard. Yeah, his verse on that tune is hard. Like literally, Wayne's verse is hard. Like Kanye's verse is hard to be honest. I don't know. Like maybe Wayne or Drake goes hardest for me. Someone said I don't like M's flow and definitely don't like the sound of his voice. Yeah. Chris says that I liked Eminem because I was young and he was funny. Like now, early stuff is corny. Yeah. And then he said he technically improved massively last 5 years. See, I see people saying this a lot, like technically as a rapper, but when I listen to him technically now, he's literally saying nothing. Like he's saying nothing. I listened to the Eminem show in my car the other day, and I was like, because I'd listened to Slim Shady LP and Marshall Mathers LP a few years ago. And like, you know, like with my kind of thoughts on misogyny and stuff like that, I mean, some of the lyrics make me really uncomfortable now as an adult. But as a kid, as a teenager who was just excited by the content and the swearing and all of that, like, yeah, I thought it was great. I listened to it again recently and I thought, this is terrible. Like, some of it is really terrible. Like, it's just not, things he's saying is horrible. The beats are not very good. Do you know what I'm saying? They're quite, and I call out people that cuss pop music all the time, but it's really quite bland. Like it's not, it's like boom bap, but without the, you know what I'm saying? Without that oomph, you know what I'm saying? Without the boom. You know what I'm saying? Chris said also his vocal tone in ears is painful. I can't see one of the words there. Yeah, it's painful. In early years, it's painful. Yeah, yeah, man. Like it's not. Like I get it, it was groundbreaking in certain ways, whatever, but I don't love it. And maybe he's got better technically, but he doesn't sound like he has that passion. There was a passion in the beginning that made it connect, and when I listen to him now, I can't listen to him. But maybe it's a me problem. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, anyway, I was listening to the Eminem show. This is a long tangent without finishing this video. We'll finish it in a sec. But I was listening to the Eminem show, and I decided, nah, that's his best album. It's when he started to acknowledge the white privilege in his career. The opening song is White America. He started to acknowledge certain political things. It's when he became more just open and honest and truthful about his life rather than making it into a joke and a comedy about killing his wife and all that, which was just horrible. I'm like cleaning out my closet it's a horrible story to make about your mother when you deep it, but it was a very emotional and raw song, an honest song or whatever. I liked that when I was younger, that song a lot, and the production that he produced himself. I didn't relate to it, but I also thought about that song when I was listening in the car the other day, because a lot of people, there's a lot of black old school rappers and in general that talk about how Eminem isn't really listened to by black people or in the hood or in hip hop circles or in the club. And I thought, and it's because they're saying those people don't relate to him. And I thought, that song, Dissing Your Mother, yeah, like in black culture, it is not a thing to diss your mother like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, mothers are respected and loved and praised. You know what I'm saying? Like Tupac made Dear Mama, and we loved that. You know what I'm saying? And I grew up, you know what I'm saying, with a lot of love and respect for my mum. I still do have a very strong relationship with him. So even me as a white person, I didn't relate to that. Although I got friends who I see their relationship with their mothers that I see who did relate to that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was an interesting thought I just had on that point. But yeah. Chris Hayes said, when Eminem started to produce his own beats, I agree, they're boring as hell. You can tell the ones produced by him. Yeah, but I kind of disagree with you. I think, because I think the first two albums were those, his name was Webb something or something. He had these two producers. The thing is, he used to produce all those beats, but he just had two people who did it for him. He'd tell them what to do. And then Dre made one or two beats. Dre didn't really produce much for Eminem on most of his albums. And then the Eminem show is the one where he stopped using those other guys, or he just started giving himself the credit. And I don't know, man. I thought the beats were better on that album than the first two. Some of them at least. Maybe it was a more poppy album. I don't know, but to me, it felt more of a cohesive project. Couple corny singles, like all his albums do. But I kind of don't. I was saying the other day, I'm not mad at them in the context of the album. Anyway, let's just see this to the end.
Honestly, I think it depends who you ask when it comes to this. People like Nick Cannon, Benzino, and a lot of other just music fans think that him simply saying soz wasn't good enough. Like I said at the start of this video, I'm in no ways thinking that Eminem is a racist, but he did do something racist in saying the things that he said on these tapes. Yeah, that's just, you can't argue with that. Listen to them back.
Facts.
They're laughably shit, but the stuff that's being said in them is anti-black. It's racist. On the other hand, you could believe
good work, mate.
He never made the one with the N-word in it, and that it makes sense that he was young and angry at his ex-girlfriend, so you can forgive him for the longer track because he was, like he says, an angry, stupid kid. In fact, according to Bizarre in another interview with Vlad TV, that almost 5-minute clip was taken from a longer segment where M was rapping about all of the races, and the Source just chopped it down into the black part.
The song was cut off and edited. The song was, they was freestyling. They was naming all.
I've heard this before. It's ridiculous
white
already.
Girl, what you think about a white girl, black girl, like a black girl, basically? But the Source just edited the black girl part and made it like it was racist.
And honestly, for me,
that's the stupidest thing ever. Like, you know, when you're just trying to help your brethren, so you just think of a thing on the top, but if you listen to the words in the context, if you listen to the lyrics of the song, you can tell it doesn't fit with that story at all.
if that's true, that just raises more questions than answers and almost confirms this theory that it was some sort of race-themed freestyle hour where, you know, a group of 4 white dudes were sat in a basement rapping about other races. Like, it's just really uncomfortable, weird thoughts. It's even worse. It's almost confirming the fact that this tape was longer and they were rapping about, oh, don't worry, it wasn't just about black people. We went after Latinos and Asians and whatever as well. Like, it's a really horrible thought.
Oh, man.
Thank you all so much for watching until the end. Jump in the comments and let me know what you think about all this. Are you an Eminem fan? What do you think about the tapes? Do you think he should have been punished more at the time? Do you think they're even Eminem at all? I just want to repeat once again, I'm not suggesting Eminem's a racist. I don't believe that he is.
Look at the time that man has to give the caveat. I don't think Eminem's a racist. Da, 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 just because he knows. But there's a difference between me and this brother. Pick up this brother though. I don't care. I don't care to upset racist white people. This guy wants to cater to white people a bit too much. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do right now. I said it earlier on. He said, please subscribe. I said, depending how he handles this. There you go, my G. There you go, my G. You get your subscribe, because I think he handled that well. Yeah, there's Eminem and his racist tape. So, I mean, I just shared that because in context of the Benzino interview, I think it is actually quite wild that Eminem, I've said this probably about 5 times throughout this episode now, but Benzino tried to expose Eminem for racism, and in turn, Eminem was able to use his white privilege to ruin Benzino's life and have him bullied for 22 years. And then 22 years later, he's now making diss songs about Benzino because Benzino's been carrying on doing interviews about it as if there's something wrong with that. I think, yeah, Eminem should sit down with him and should address it and put it to rest and hug it out. But what's happened instead is his millions of fans are making memes and bullying Benzino for crying, saying it's over Eminem, when actually Benzino just said some real shit.